Hello, this is Wmpyr. I was asked a question. It asked, "Do you know capoeira?" And you know, um, throughout my martial arts path, my experience in my journey in the martial arts, which is around 3 decades now, right? Throughout that time, I have experienced capoeira multiple times. Um, so yeah, let me try to share some of those stories. So number one, when I was in college, I was having a lot of mixed martial arts matches. And what I mean by mixed martial arts matches, that means style versus style. In other words, I'm my style versus some other style. It's mixed style, but not cross training. I mean fighting, right? It's a challenge match. So I did a lot of those in college because honestly, it was ego. It felt good when you beat somebody, when you fought somebody in like a duel, and if you defeat them, it feels good. So I was addicted to that winning streak, should I say? And during that time at that college, I had like this undefeated record, which was, I'm embarrassed to say this. It's very embarrassing to brag about something like that, and I was bragging about it big time. And my attitude was really bad, and my brain was completely wrong. My brain was thinking, if I win, if I fight you, and if I win, then that means I am correct. And that's completely the wrong idea. That I could tell you now that I've seen both sides, but at the time I could only see through that way. And I felt like the winner is always right. And that was the viewpoint that I had. And I was only concerned about effective. If a martial arts or a martial artist was doing stuff for health or philosophy or history, culture, anything other than effective practical combat, I thought it was a waste of time. So I had this kind of really, really narrow-minded, very incorrect way of thinking. And there might be some people watching this video going, "No, you have the right mind. I think that way too." Believe me, I had that mind, but now I've experienced the other side too. So, having experienced the other side, I can tell you this is not the way. Okay. So even during this time, I was getting tired of fighting. I was constantly fighting, and I had the attitude of like Miyamoto Musashi and like the Gracie family, where it was like I'm do not want to lose. Period. So it's all about not losing, because you're gonna face tougher and tougher opponents that you just can't win. And then you start, it's almost like cheating or you're manipulating, but it's like, hey man, it's a real life fight, real life combat, anything goes. So then you start basically coming out with a whole ton of excuses, you know. Skill wise, I won, or if it was pound for pound, I'm the clear cut winner, or things like that. And so basically, I can't lose no matter what. I put myself in a position where I can't lose. You're twice my size, so if you can't beat me in 5 minutes, then I won. You know, if I have that kind of mentality, like I said, you can't beat me. Period. And then on top of that, I did things that, like, rule wise, we don't know what the rules are, so I can kick him with shoes on. And then I could, with shoes, man, I could make this guy all busted up. He could be bleeding left and right. So I could do stuff like that, but I purposely avoided, the rules talk and stuff like that, so that I would have that advantage. I wore black, um, just all black, so it's harder for them to see. Just things like that. You manipulate like crazy, like Musashi did with allegedly did by using the sun against the guy, the lighting. It's just stuff like that. So I went through that phase, and my body was getting beat up from the fights, and I was mentally getting tired and exhausted from it, just constantly, walking around like Clint Eastwood, ready to, anybody, anywhere, anytime. It gets tiring. If you've never done it, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But I walked around like I was the baddest dude there, period. And I really believed that I was. Um, so anyway, at that time, I was starting to realize there was something wrong with me. My personality, my way of thinking, that I was on the wrong path. And martial arts training was not fun. I was way too serious, and I was extremely narrow-minded. And because of it, I knew something was wrong. And I said to myself, dude, it needs to be fun. It needs to be fun, because if it's not fun, you're not going to last. I mean, we're about to quit here. You need a break from this. So that's not good. So let's make it fun again. And in order to make it fun, I need to focus on fun, not on effective. So anytime I try to do martial arts, I focus on effective and practical. So I was like, let's focus on fun. So in order to do that, let's think of the martial arts style that is the least practical, the least effective. And at the time, I know this is extremely disrespectful, and I apologize, but I do not think this way anymore. But at the time, I thought it was capoeira. Okay. Once again, believe me, I don't think capoeira is ineffective anymore. I completely do not think that. But at the time, I believed that. And I knew the history. I knew the history about the slaves, and that they had to disguise it, and then they actually won the revolution, won their freedom. Okay, but I understood all of that, but I felt like what I saw was the focus was on the gymnastics and the dancing. So I was like, I could beat these guys. That was my wrong mentality, and I apologize for that. I was totally wrong. But at the time I thought that, so I looked up on the yellow pages, because back then that's what you had to do, look up on the yellow pages, a capoeira school, went to the school, drove over there, was far away, drove over there, and, I talked to the teacher, and I took the class, and, I said to myself, don't even think about practical and effective, just freaking have fun. It's a group of people, they're all training together, they're all friends. If you can't join in that group and become friends with them, there's something seriously wrong with you. You're that guy that's a jerk, So I went in there, and I was able to do it. I struggled for sure, but I was able to do it. And I was like, okay, that's a start. That's a good start. So that was my first experience with capoeira, like actual experience, And then the next time, and that was very important for me. That was a life changer, game changer for me, because I knew something was wrong with me. And mentally, inside, my spirit, there was something really wrong with me. So to be able to just go to a capoeira school and just have fun with those people and learn to enjoy martial arts again, that was very huge for me, okay? So I'll never forget that. The second experience was I was training with a group of guys with a club, and these guys, we did BJJ and MMA type training. They were into that kind of stuff, and one of the guys was like, "Hey man, you got to check out this capoeira school. The guy is awesome. That guy's a real fighter. You got to go check it out, And I was like, okay, sure. So I went with him, and we went to this capoeira school, and sure enough, he wasn't kidding. Okay, the teacher was very, very, how would I call it? You just got the vibe that he was a street experienced, he was a fighter, and he was a street fighter, not just a fighter, a street fighter. You do not want to mess with this dude. You look at his eyes, and it looked like he's killed a person in the past. That he looks like a killer, right? The first capoeira teacher was a nice guy, and he could probably be a coach to help on an MMA team, to help a fighter learn some capoeira moves. He could be a coach. He was very skilled, so he was that kind of guy. This guy looked like the kind of guy that he could go fight, like Pride fighting championships, or one of those crazy events in Japan. They could call this guy and say, "We need a fighter. Can you fight?" he could do that. He was at that level, ready to go now. He was one of those guys, physically super fit, ripped, and physically just a different DNA, completely massive dude, but very lean, super ripped, and just a killer face. Anyway, so that guy, he said, have you guys had any kind of capoeira experience? And I said a tiny bit, and he said, show me. So I started doing the jinga, and he was like, no. He said, dude, you have to protect your face, your head at all times. So, he was like, it looked like a sniper. Only see the eyes. And I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty awesome. And when I went home and I started doing Filipino martial arts, just my regular routine practice at home. So I'm practicing and I'm doing the Heaven Six, and I was like, wait a minute. Heaven Six is supposed to be offense and defense simultaneous. This is defense, but I'm not protecting my face. Okay, so let me try it his way. So then that advice that he gave me completely changed my Filipino martial arts. So now it's here. Rather than down here doing the Heaven Six like this, I was doing it up here, just like he said. So this comes from him. It was his advice. I mean, he didn't know I was doing, applying it to Filipino martial arts or anything, but that was a game changer. I am super grateful. So at first I thought capoeira was a style that was the least practical, which I said, I was completely wrong for that. And then now capoeira changed my game, changed my Filipino martial arts game, my viewpoint of martial arts into more practical, more realistic, more effective. It was capoeira that did it, the style that I thought that was the least practical. So, I mean, I'm very, very grateful towards that teacher and capoeira in that sense. So it changed my game 100%. So that's my second experience. And then let me talk about a third experience with capoeira, and this is a little bit different. Okay, I remember I went to a capoeira school, and I was wanting to teach martial arts. I wanted to open my own school at the time. So I went to this school and I asked them, I said, I want to teach, I have this kind of background. I teach all these different styles, and I have these kinds of backgrounds. And, would you have room for another instructor, during the times where you're not using the school, that I could teach and I could pay you the percentage, And the guy, he was like very interested, and he was a capoeira instructor, and he has a capoeira school and everything. And he said, I'm very interested, but first I need to test you out. So he asked me to take the class. So I took his class, and for me that was great. It was another great time that I got to meet his students and stuff, and I got to train and all that, and it was great. And then afterwards, I guess I passed, even though it's a style that it's not my specialty or anything. I did the class, and he saw that, I can move around. I can, throw punches and kicks and all that stuff. And I don't know what he was looking at, maybe a composure or whatever, But anyway, so afterwards, he said to me, I thought it was weird that I had to take his style, and that's part of the interview. But anyway, that being said, afterwards he was interested, and he said, what kind of style are you thinking about teaching? And I told him, flat out, my style is a mix, but it's the Filipino martial arts, the stick stuff. That is the main thing. But it is a mix of different styles. It's my own style, And he was like, what other styles did you mix in? And I told him one of the styles was grappling, that I do have some grappling knowledge, kickboxing and grappling and stuff. And when he heard grappling, at the time, grappling was one of the most popular. Even today, I think it's very popular, but at the time it was super popular. So he was like, you know how to grapple? And he was like, I want you to teach that, just that. And I was like, no, I can't do that, you know. And he was like, I want you to teach it as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm like, I don't have that permission. Um, so no, I can't do that. And he was like, think about it. You know, we do this and the numbers and we can make this much money and whatever. And I was like, uh, I'm telling you, I don't have the permission. It has nothing. I don't care if we make $10 million, okay? I don't have the permission to do that, you know? I'd have to ask my grappling teacher and get permission, you know, and that would mean I'd have to become an affiliate and blah, 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 blah. You know, I can't just say I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu teacher, you know, here, I'm going to start teaching. No, I don't want to be a fraud, you know? So I was like, no, I can't do that. I won't do that. And he was like, well, you get back to me on that, as if it was even a choice. For me, that's not a choice. But yeah, so I had no problem teaching someone who wants to learn grappling how to grapple, but I'm not going to teach it as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know what I mean? Like I said, I would need permission to do that, you know. And Filipino martial arts, I'm not going to teach. It would be like me teaching Filipino martial arts and saying, this is Professor Remy Presas's modern Arnis style that I'm teaching. No, I can't do that. I don't have the permission. I don't have the certificate to do that, you know. So can I teach my own interpretation of Filipino martial arts? I don't see why that's a problem. And that's what I teach. And I tell you guys, you know, I'm upfront with you guys that this is my style of martial arts. This is my style of Filipino martial arts. So, you know, that guy did not understand that. Because he wanted on the advertising, he wanted the name Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on there, and I refused, you know. So I enjoyed his class. He's very skilled as a capoeira guy, but his business ethics to me is not cool. I think he's legit as a capoeira guy. You know, how good he is amongst other capoeira instructors, I don't know. I mean, you know, the one that impressed me the most fighting wise, of course, was the second guy I told you guys about. But this guy seemed like a guy who was very, very experienced with capoeira. Looks like maybe when he was younger, he really, really put his heart and soul into it. But now he seemed like he wasn't into it as much. He's now just doing the business side. That's what it looked like to me, which is a darn shame. You know, I think that's where you want to do some soul searching, and I hope he does. I hope, or maybe he has been able to soul search and get back into why did you get into martial arts in the first place. But I understand, you know, he needed to feed a family, he needed to make money, and it was all about the business aspect, you know. But like I said, he wanted me to break some rules that doesn't fly with me. But anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.